Our opening words this morning are from Gretchen Haley. Come in, all who long to know how to love this world, how to keep eyes open, hands unclenched, arms wide, breathing deeply in and out. This is a time to practice because there is still so much good and beauty and joy to be experienced. But it can be hard. Keep holding on to that. What with all the news in the wind and the cold and the trembling earth, who wants to love this life anyway? Come in, all who teeter on the edge of cynicism, brokenhearted and trying still to remember laughter and kindness and make meaning of what it is to be alive in these days when so much is at stake. In this place, we remind each other why we persist, giving each other courage to take this path that is not always easy, to keep practicing this love that cannot, will not let us go, and still calls us on. Come in, all who long to know how to love this world. It is good to be together today.
Good morning, everyone here and online. This is just a little song, and it's got a chorus with not very complicated words. It's la 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 la.
But we're not singing together.
No, you're not singing together. I checked this already. What I'm saying is, while you're there, just lightly say to yourself, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. That's all you need to do. Because it's all about a simple song, and it doesn't matter how good it is. Just sing. I will sing, you will laugh. Sing, sing a song, sing out loud, sing out strong, sing of good things, not bad, sing of happy, not sad, sing a song, make it simple to last your whole life long. Don't worry that it's not good enough for anyone else to hear. Just sing a song. La 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 la. La 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 la. Sing a song. Let the world sing along. Sing of love there could be. Sing for you and for me. Sing a song. Make it simple to last your whole life long. Don't worry that it's not good enough for anyone else to hear. Just sing a song. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
I was born around the same time as Sesame Street, so that's where I first heard that song, and many good memories of my childhood hearing it again. Um, Good morning. From the lands that were and are the ancestral. Hold on. Are we good? From the lands that were the ancestral in our contemporary sacred home to the Dakota people, we bid you good morning. From this building, which before becoming our home was a sacred gathering house for some local Baptists, we bid you good morning. From this current community bound together in commitment to build a better world through love and service, gathered in this space across space and time, in our virtual platforms and here in person, we bid you welcome. A few announcements before we get. Oh, is everybody behind me? Oh. Hi, Zoom folks. You're on the big screen if you want to give a wave. Good morning. I forget they're all back there. Good morning. One thing I want to bring to your attention, those of you that are here in person, Zoom people and YouTube people, go get a warm up on your coffee. On the back of the order of service, there are COVID precautions if you're here in person, and it's always good to just make sure that you're alerted to those. A couple of things to note, I know there are surges right now, so if you do test positive and you've been here, please let us know, right? So that we can let others know that there was a positive test if you had been here. If you're sick, do not come, right? We've got other ways that you can participate in the service. When you are here, I'm sure you've noticed there's air filtration systems around here. Those are running all the time. Please allow for social distancing. Masks are required to be worn at all times unless you are speaking in the pulpit. If you are speaking in the pulpit, you must be vaccinated. If you are singing in the choir, you must be vaccinated. If you have any role in the service as an usher or a greeter or anything that's official, you must be vaccinated. I'm going to assume that probably most of us here are vaccinated. If anybody wants to volunteer to raise their hand if they're vaccinated. I know some people are interested in knowing. Yes, I estimated that it was 99% of our folks. I'm sure that it's that. So if you have a position here, you absolutely need to be vaccinated. Singing right now is limited for the time being. Hopefully that will loosen up at some point, at some time. But right now, we're handling that in a couple ways, which Nicole will explain in a minute. And just a reminder that there's no food or beverage being served in a social hour afterwards, but we do have take-home treats for you. Also, all volunteers that are working downstairs need to be vaccinated. All staff are vaccinated, just so you know, and all volunteers working in any position that's interacting with anybody else right now needs to be vaccinated. So I just want to make sure that everybody knew that. I also want to talk about some upcoming services, but first I'm going to hand it off to Nicole, and she can talk about Music Sunday and some other things about music.
Good morning. Music Sunday is next Sunday, so we're really looking forward to the people that are contributing their time and talents. At this point in time, I think we are good to go. So if you were considering and you still would like to be a part of it, contact me and we can figure that out. Let's see. Also, as far as the singing piece, I'll just keep reminding you because these are habits that we have been doing for so long, singing together. So it's really hard to even ask this, but how we are handling singing is when we do the song response, I just invite you to hum along for right now. And we've chosen to do one hymn that we can sing together, and that will be done at the very end of the service, which will give anybody who's not comfortable an opportunity to go ahead and leave the room, but that will be also an opportunity for us to sing together. So is that all I have? Oh, and the choir and anybody who is interested will be singing at Veep Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, 3:30 to 4:30. And we're singing from the hymnal, about 6 carols that we'll just kind of be repeating, and this will be sung for any participants of the organization that are collecting their goods, and also the workers and the volunteers. And so it's outdoors, it will be masked, but it's been really great just to be singing some of our traditional carols and being together in that way and volunteering our time. So if you're interested in that, please also get in touch with me then. I'm hoping to maybe live stream it, but we'll see. Thank you.
They're also collecting things for Veep, non-perishable food and some other items, toilet paper, diapers, et cetera. You can bring things here. You'll be bringing that stuff over on Tuesday as well? So you can bring it before Tuesday. There's a bin outside. You can set it there and staff will grab that for you. A couple of other services that are coming up. There's a winter solstice service that an invitation has been extended to us. So a member at the Bismarck Mandane congregation is doing this online solstice ritual, if you will. There's more information about that in the Friday email. It came too late for me to get it in unison. It came like the day after we printed that out. So check that out if you're interested in that. It's 6 p.m. on the 21st. Christmas Eve service will be here at 5 o'clock on the 24th. That's going to be in the parking lot because we do want to sing, because that's the whole point of that service, is some short traditional stories that we'll tell in between favorite songs of the season that everybody likes to sing. I've got battery-operated candles so we can do it all by candlelight. I promise it'll be under an hour. Dress warmly, come and have cheer and bid each other happy holidays if you have time for that in your holiday schedule. And I also want to note that the offices will be closed the last week of the month from the 26th through January 1st. That's for staff to enjoy time off with their families over the holiday. It gets to be busy for us leading up to the holidays. And on behalf of staff, we want to thank the board and the congregation for the gift of this time, which always gives us a little breathing space mid-year, so we can take care of our spirits and ourselves. And we hope that this time together today, that you all find something that your spirit needs, whether it's in word or song or silence or just being in the presence of others here or online. This is an hour of renewal and respite. Take a deep breath in, invite what you need. I'll ask that you all join in our chalice lighting, which is printed probably up behind me and in the chat section if you're online, and also in the order of service. We light this flame as a reminder of the torches that have been passed to us. We carry them forward with care and conviction. May the light of the flame guide us ever onward. And as we open up time to share our joys and sorrows, you can raise your hand if you're here, and one of the ushers will bring a microphone around for you. If you're on Zoom, you can type over in the chat, and I'll read those aloud. I do want to lift up those folks in the South, especially in Kentucky this week, as that tornado, I think it was 3 states that it went through. Just horrifying, and so our hearts go out to them as they literally try to find themselves again in the chaos.
Barb Gillian, please light a candle of joy, of relief. One of my sisters and her husband have been battling COVID, and my brother-in-law had a pretty serious case. They were eligible to be boosted and had been putting it off, thinking other things were more important. So in addition to my relief that they are getting better, just an urging, if you're not boosted and you're eligible, please get it this week. I'm Kat Janes and Ed Janes. Our joy today is it's our 51st wedding anniversary today.
Well, happy 51st wedding anniversary to Ed and Kat. Carla?
Hi, Carla Reese. On behalf of my husband, I want to say, yay, Navy beat Army.
Yay, maybe he got a,
I'm sorry?
yay, maybe, I didn't catch it.
Yay, Navy. They beat Army yesterday at their annual face-off football game.
Oh.
Yeah, so yay.
Sports.
But
Sports
I
ball.
have a deep sorrow. A friend of mine, Matthew P. Taylor, a rising star in the UU leadership community, passed away. They were a seminarian. They were a dedicated Black Lives UU leader. They were a beautiful soul. Just a few weeks ago, we had a conversation after years of not talking to each other, other than communicating on Facebook. And we'll never know what was lost with their passing. But please just, I pray that their spirit will continue to touch so many lives with their ministry and all the wonderful things they did in this life. So.
Yeah, there's a big chunk of the UU community right now grieving Matthew, and so our hearts go out to them this morning as they're facing life without Matthew. I think it's on.
My mother-in-law who had a heart attack just yesterday is the primary caretaker. And
We lift up all those things to celebrate, and we share all those sorrows together. And I ask that you, and humming if you're present and singing if you're online, our response. I want to invite you all into a moment of centering. This is a space for centering, for prayer, for meditation. This life presents us all with so much all at once that can be overwhelming. So let's just take a moment to breathe, to ground ourselves. In these challenging times, it's good to remember that when spiritual storms, when challenges are brewing inside our lives and also outside in the world, beyond us, that it's chaos that gives way to creation. And though it might seem counterintuitive, it is always good, right, in the midst of all of that challenge and chaos that we give space for gratitude and praise. The poet Rainer Maria Rilke understood this so well in the following poem that's translated by Albert Fleming. "O tell us, poet, what is it you do? I praise. But in the midst of deadly turmoil, what helps you endure, and how do you survive? I praise. And that which nameless is anonymous, how do you, poet, still call out to them? I praise. Who grants you your right to pose in any guise, wear any mask, and still remain sincere? I praise. And that the stillness and the violence, like the star and the storm, know and acknowledge you, because I praise." I invite you into a moment of silence to lift up your praise and gratitude. We survive our deepest struggles because the human spirit rose from the dust with the possibility of joy and praise, and so it is. Blessed be, and amen. I want to give you an update on our Raise the Roof campaign. First of all, the learning of it, next Thursday, December 16th, from 6:30 to 8:30 here in person. I'm hosting a viewing and discussion of the film Homeless, the Motel Kids of Orange County. That's part of the learning side of this. The film explores the world of children who reside in discounted motels within walking distance of Disneyland, living in limbo as their families struggle to survive in one of the wealthiest regions of America. The parents of the motel kids are often hard workers who don't earn enough to own or rent homes. As a result, they continue to live week by week in these motels, hoping against for an opportunity that might allow them to move up in the OC. Again, that film and the discussion will be here in person. If you're not able to make that and you want to watch the film on your own, it's on HBO. Last week, I watched the film Sold Out on TPT, which is our local PBS station. That film set right here in Richfield and follows the residents of a 698-unit apartment building that was called Crossroads, and they were all evicted from their homes, which at the time were at affordable and accessible rates in order to make way for higher-end apartments. I encourage you all to check out that film as well. It's very eye-opening about what happens right here and how the impact is much bigger and beyond even just those 698 families. That's on TPT, so anybody can access that to check that out. As we engage in the campaign, we hope to educate ourselves about the complex depths of the problems caused by lack of affordable housing, which, Minneapolis is notorious for being at, not at the good end of where affordable housing, we're high on the less affordable housing list. So it's good that we learn about these things. And of course, we have the fundraising side of our campaign. As of midweek, this last week, we'd raised over $1,000, so that's a really good start. But I know that we can do much, much better than that. So I invite you all to donate when you have time to do that. You can share by donating online or on our website, or use the Vanco mobile app, or by you check the category, Raise the Roof, it's right there when you go online. Or you can mail in a check, just make sure you put Raise the Roof in the memo section so that we don't put it towards your pledge. But speaking of your pledge, do I have a board member who's introducing the offering today? Oh, well, come on up and try. Well, you have to come up here on the microphone because otherwise the folks that have hearing devices can't hear. You can come up here. Come up here. Then everybody can see you better. It is good. It's good to be seen.
Well, it seems, my name is Holly Bruce, I'm on the board. Seems that I've gotten Lark in all kinds of trouble mentioning her posture last week. But I do want to say it's so good to be back together. I can't tell you how much that means to me, for us to be back together, even with some of these, oh, that's a nice holly mast you got there, girl. I want to especially welcome the Olsons' new friends and welcome them to our get-together, and thank you for coming. It's quite wonderful to see you. All right, so Doug and I are ushering today, so it's time to pull out your wallets and give us a little cash, okay?
When I was thinking of music on the topic of joy and space for joy, I realized that both of the songs that came to mind were from Sesame Street. And that's got to tell you something. This particular song, Look Through the Window, I also came upon by chance something in my computer. My computer is a lot like my desk. It's piled up all sorts of stuff. And what popped out was a letter that I had written back in 2004 instructing the youth choir to come to the big event. And the song they were going to sing was this song. So this song has been here in 2004, and you can imagine 8 young kids right along. Some of them were the children of those people who are here now. It's hard to sing with a mask on. Look through the window, walk through the door, feel a new feeling you've not felt before. Look through the window, there are wonders to see, and the whole world will open for you and for me. Look through the window, walk through the door, open your heart to joy evermore. Love and trust are waiting in a place we all can share. Look through the window, walk through the door, we're there. Through the window, walk through the door, feel a new feeling you've not felt before. Look through the window, there are wonders to see, and the whole world will open for you and for me. Through the window, walk through the door, open your heart to joy evermore. Love and trust are waiting in a place we all can share. Look through the window, walk through the door, we're there. Love and trust are waiting in a place we all can share. Look through the window, walk through the door, we're there. Yeah, thank Joe Raposo. He's amazing. Writer. Since I'm talking, I can take that off. When Laura asked me to do this several months ago, talk about joy, I thought, like hell. Excuse me. No. And I prepared something today in my usual way, which was to put it all nice and written down and timed precisely. And last night I was sitting on the sofa drinking some scotch, and I was reading in the UU World a comment from Susan Frederick Gray, Reverend Dr. Susan Frederick Gray, about the joyous nature of anti-racism work. And that started me thinking, and I thought, I'm going to get rid of the other stuff I was going to say, which was all wonderful, and if you want to hear about it, I can give you some time. But what came to mind initially was last Sunday, and I thought, what can I possibly add to what those children said in that video? The one that keeps coming back to me was Benny, who his joy was garbage truck, recycling truck. And I thought, if you're going to make space for joy, those are two things that you can really use, the garbage and the recycling. But then I thought, well, I can't add anything else. Who am I? I'm a person who's been struggling through 640. It's 640 days of pandemic as of today. 640 days of struggling along, feeling like my feet are in concrete, my mood going up, going down, staying down, coming up a little, staying down. So what could I say? I don't know. But then I thought, over this last 2 years, 2.5 years, what has brought me joy? And everybody, you'll all find different things, I'm sure. What I found, actually, was my anti-racism work here. And it wasn't a matter of, I thought, what is it? And I'm talking about me. Everybody's got a different perspective on it. So it's like sing your own song. Everybody's got their own joy. But I thought, what was it about that made me joyous? Finding out the terrible things that were done, finding out the history I didn't know about, finding out within myself the stuff that I didn't want to see, all those sorts of things, what we would call the dark stuff, the things that we want to hide from, the things that are in the shadow. Yeah. But I thought, why does that at times? Not always. Some days I just want to say, screw it, put it out in the garage. But other times, more often than not, I get invigorated. So if I'm in beloved conversations, soul matters, my grandmother's hands workshop that we've done, the talking about race meetings that we're having, conversations I've had, courses I've taken, movies I've looked at, books I've read, conversations I've had about the topic, it's all given me a sense of joy. And I thought, what the heck is that all about? And I realized there are two things for me, again, these are just for me, two things that plow the field, sort of prepare the soil for joy for me. The very first one is very much like those little kids saying, I don't know, and believing it. Giving yourself permission to really, I don't know. There's stuff I don't know about the world out there, about what's happened, about what's in me. And the second one, which is almost more important to me, is surprise. If I can really welcome surprise, I'm not talking about happy things like birthday presents and that kind of stuff. Surprise, things where all of a sudden something I didn't know shows up, that kind of sparks me to go, whoo. And again, I'm speaking for myself. This is the way I approach it. You'll all find different ways of doing it. And that's what makes this all so wonderfully rich. So what I'm taking away, and I really appreciate the opportunity to say this because it helps me to articulate, what I'm taking away is two things. I don't know, and oh, wow. I don't know, and oh, wow. I was talking with Lark earlier about mantras. That may be my mantra for the next hour. I don't know, and oh, wow. So here we are.
That's how I approach sermon writing every week, by the way. I was meeting with some colleagues earlier this week. We have a monthly gathering for female-identified UU clergy local. We meet once a month for lunch. This was our first in-person meeting since the pandemic happened. Now, the purpose of the group is to provide love and support for one another. And as we went around the room to do our check-ins, which is the biggest part of our meeting, those of us in congregational settings all shared deep disappointment and our struggles with feeling low and depressed, and our frustration with always being held in this pandemic of a state of not knowing, always, not knowing exactly what to do or what is coming next. And we get inundated with these articles in our collegiate circles that are titled things like, "They're not coming back." Really, this is what I read in the middle of the week. And so we share our fears also about shrinking numbers and expressed our utter just exasperation about the whole pandemic and how it's related to our work in general. So we're airing out our grievances, singing the blues, laying out our lament, and doing so with tremendous hand gestures, because we're clergy, and a lot of profanity. And swear words in those kinds of settings become a blessing, become sacred, because they actually help to lift and relieve some of your pain. So there were a lot of F-bombs being dropped around that table, not just from this clergy, but it was shared. It comes around to be my turn to share. And I'm going to be honest here and confessional, in case you don't know. I struggle with depression, right? That is to say, I live with depression. Sometimes it's dormant for months, maybe even years. But I know she's always there, and that she can always wake up and have a prominent presence in my life. And boy, was she prominent last week. And I named this to my colleagues. I've been naming it to people close to me when that happens to me, because it helps. So I named it to my colleagues, and there are plenty of reasons to be depressed right now. Pandemic, politics, global warming, horrific humanitarian crisis that continues decade after decade, no matter who the president is, right, on the border. I mean, that was there before Trump, it's there after Trump, it's ongoing, it's terrible. Tornadoes that whip through 3 states, plenty of things to feel existential dread. But what really got me ramped up last week, what really got my depression ramped up, was this new monthly theme. Joy, Soul Matters is the name of our themed ministry packets for UUs that we subscribe to. As a congregation, we subscribe to it, so do many of my colleagues that I was with the other day. And each month, we get these wonderful resource packets from them for Sunday services, for religious education, for small groups. It's fantastic. And then this month, we come upon joy. And so there was a part of me last week that said, oh, this will be fun. And some of it was. I took great joy in putting together the video of all those kids, and had joy. I watched it probably more times than any of you have watched it. Got great joy, especially Benny, especially was one of my favorites. But underneath that joy stirred my depression. Now, to be fair, she wasn't exactly sleeping. She's kind of been just sitting there quietly most of the time, just waiting for her moment to peek in the last, 2 years, so she can pounce whenever she wants. And she says, "Joy, are you kidding me? Have you watched the news? Have you looked around?" So all last week, I'm having this internal boxing match with joy and depression. And this is exactly what I told my colleagues. And one of them said, "Amen, sister." And another one shook her head and said, "Who the hell does Soul Matters think they are? WTF, joy?" And from there, the conversation devolved into a full-blown sharing of all of our despair, aches, pain, every peri or menopausal symptoms we were currently battling as a competition almost of one-upping each other. And then there it was. The wearing and the bitching gave way to laughter as we all tried to one-up each other on how terrible things were. And what did we find? Joy. Not joy instead of pain, but there, right alongside it, buried within, it was a healing balm that we needed. We very much needed it. How was it that we made joy out of pain and out of frustration? How is it that my wide awake depression was heard and soothed, lulled back into her safe corner, where I'm sure she's watching right now? It was because we were seen and heard. It was because we lifted our burdens and shared them, and they became lighter than they would if we held them ourselves. And that brought us joy. Last week, we talked about creating and seeking joy, and that joy is also seeking us, right? But joy cannot find space if our plate is already full. And I want to extend that plate is full metaphor because some of you may feel like your plate is full. That metaphor might work for you. The one that works for me is more that I feel like I'm spinning plates, you know, those guys that spin the plates, but I don't exactly know how long the plate line goes of extensions and what might be dropping. And so when I'm able to give something up or let go of something, I always feel like that's one less plate I have to spin. So what I want to talk to you now is about the joy of less worry, less stress, less expectation, less stuff. So many of you know Emily and I made a big move last summer. We downsized from a 3-bedroom house into a 1-bedroom, 720 square foot apartment, lots of cool amenities. The downsizing and the move itself were very stressful. But the less stuff on the other side has been a big blessing. And living in a small space with less stuff has gotten me thinking about less as a spiritual practice. That is minimalism as a spiritual practice. Now, this whole idea of minimalism as a spiritual practice is nothing new if you think about it. Monks and nuns have been doing this for their entire existence. And Muslims and Jews and other denominations might eliminate certain foods and activities from their lives on certain days, minimalizing. Mennonites, Mormons, and some other denominations practice modesty, which is also an approach to minimalism. All these practices eliminate things from daily life. Now, we can look at this as restriction, a stifling of our freedom, if you will. And if that's how you look at those things, well, that's exactly how they'll feel if you engage them. But if you look at them from the perspective of decluttering the spirit, then it's not about denial at all. Rather, it's about making space for more clarity, more gratitude, more joy, right? It's one less plate spinning, or maybe a bunch less plate spinning. There's something to be found when you make space for things. I want to lift up these words from Rumi that are translated by Coleman Banks. Rumi wrote these about fasting during Ramadan. There is a hidden sweetness in stomach's emptiness. We are lutes, no more, no less. If the sound box is stuffed full of anything, no music. Right? That's how it feels when we get so much stuff. When depression's voice becomes the dominant voice in my life, that lute is stuffed full and there's not going to be any music or anything going on. My heart has been full of frustration and sadness and disappointment, but I know that in sharing my burden, I'm able to empty out space to make room for joy. And maybe those are those moments when I can marvel at all the plates spinning, right? Instead of just being terrified. And I think of other ways that I can practice less. Here's what I think about. I don't need to say yes to everything, and this is a really hard one for me, and I'm sure it is for a lot of others in this room, especially this time of year. Especially this time of year, I mean, it's just Emily and I at home. We don't have family around here. But those of you that do have big families and navigate all the holiday things, there's a big one this time of year. You don't need to say yes to every event, every party, every expectation of how that gathering party is going to look. You can say no to things. So I want to lift this up. Who here has ever, this is a great adulting thing, who here has ever delighted when a date, a meeting, or a gathering, even one you were looking forward to, got canceled? Who here has ever delighted in that? Yes? Yes, yes. I canceled a meeting today, actually. I'm sure the folks that were in that one are like, oh, that's good. Because I know I feel that way, and it was my meeting. It feels good. I saw a meme the other day. You know, we've all heard FOMO, which is fear of missing out. Well, the flip side of that is joy, which is joy of missing out, right? So that's one thing. Say no to things. Let some things go. Next thing. How many of you here make space for me time? It's a hard one. An afternoon or an evening just for you with no obligations. In my circles, we call it Sabbath, right? It stems from a Judeo-Christian creation story. On the seventh day, even God rested, and so should we. But it doesn't always work to do a whole day, right? Times it's just a couple of hours that you can have here or there. Tuesday night, you know, especially parents. I know it's really hard for parents that have kids at home to figure out how to do this. So maybe you take turns with each other, looking at the Willers back there, you take turns with each other, right? Give each other, that's your 2 hours, that's your 2 hours. It's really helpful, and for it to be intentional space for that. Because if the sound box of your lute is often so full, just an hour or two will empty it. You know, it makes a huge, huge difference. Bubble bath, girls' night out, guys' night out, something like that. Third point, again, I want to revisit talking about the burdens that we carry. Share the load. Reaching out to a trusted friend, a family member, or a support circle. That's probably some of the reason that anti-racism work feels so good. It's the space that we lift that up, where we share that. Lay your burdens, your frustration, your despair down with others. It can have a profound effect on easing your stress and suffering, making room for clarity, comfort, and even joy. Shared tears often give way to shared laughter. Now, last week, I asked you all to intentionally go out with your eyes and your ears and your hearts open to finding joy. Did some of you do that? Right? I hope that was rewarding for you. This week, we're going to take a different approach. Here's the invitation. First, look for what things, events, or obligations you can let go of. Take an inventory. That one thing that's too much on your plate, put it back. Take it down from the stick and quit spinning that plate. I'm sure there's something there that you can let go of. Number two, try to commit to finding those 2 hours that I just talked about to nourish your soul. Note, this is not the same as escapism, right? So watching TV, playing whatever game it is that you play on your phone does not count for that 2 hours. That is not me time. Now, that is not to say that our hearts and minds and souls don't need an off button switch from reality sometimes. So by all means, binge whatever you're binging and, you know, have your phone games. Those things are good to have an off time. But I'm talking about me time, not off time. Don't confuse the two. And don't have too much off time. That's also bad. You know, watch your screen time. We all need to watch our screen time, right? I'm speaking about me time. So again, I don't know what that is for you. It's bubble baths or a talk with a friend, or it's a walk around the lake where you're paying attention to how your feet sound on the ground and what other sounds you hear. It's something like that, something intentional, right? So you're gonna actually have to put a little more into it than you do when you do this. Third thing, share your burdens with an actual person, not naming them in prayers or writing them in your journal, which again, I'm not saying that's a bad practice, but you need to do more than that. You need to share them with somebody. This has been a long, how many days did you say? 640 days? Find somebody that you can talk to really just lay it down with the profanity and all the hand gestures you need to just name it and just get it, just let it out. And make that a regular practice, because we have that. So if you have meetings with friends, set an automatic check-in space. I know, our staff meeting, we have check-ins, and a lot of things I go to because, clergy have all this spiritual stuff to do. It's check-ins everywhere for us. Like, it is a good practice. It is very good practice. Make some space for checking in with somebody who you trust. And those of you that are listening to somebody else, you don't have to fix anything. In fact, I invite you to use profanity, and when they lay their burden down, just you say whatever your equivalent is of screw that, or stronger word that, or whatever, because that's helpful for the person because then you're validated that that's a hard thing. So don't offer them any advice. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? Because that's, you know what that's doing? That's giving them one more plate to spin. You want to do that, right? Please. Too many spinning plates in my life. So don't give me more plates, don't give them more plates or put more on their plate. Just validate that they said that that's messed up and say, God, that's messed up. That's all they need to hear. Or if they say that is really sad. Just be with them. That's all you need to do if you're on the hearing side of that, right? And if you are the person sharing and that person doesn't do that for you, tell them to do that for you, because otherwise they'll get caught up in fixing. Have you been there before? You know what I'm talking about. This morning it happened. Okay, right. So we're people, and it's in our nature. And I could go off on a whole white supremacy thing here to want to fix things and have them perfect, right? That's a symptom of white supremacy. We like to have things orderly and fixed and do the things. That's part of white culture. So part of undoing that is not fixing things, right? So I'm inviting those of you that listen, take that off your plate. That's not on your plates, fix them, and don't give them a plate of being fixed, right? No more plates. Can you all do that? Can you try to practice asking for that when somebody steps into that space? I know it's hard, but please practice letting people know what you need. And if you need to walk away, those of us who are married, sometimes the conversation goes into other things, like just say what I need, and when you're ready, I'll be over here, and take yourself somewhere else so that you don't get into the thing that sometimes we do in our closer relationships. And that's because we have all this stress that we're carrying, right? We can find joy in many places and on many occasions, but let's not overlook that it's equally important to invite joy in our lives is not seeking more stuff in our lives, right? So we need to seek joy, and we need to let go of stuff that gets in the way of that joy. Decluttering our spirits, our minds, and our hearts. In the world of joy, less is often more. So as these days grow so very short, may we be reminded that it is the deepest and darkest of the empty night sky which lets the stars shine the brightest. Blessed be, and amen. Thanks. Thank you. I'll take that. Will you all please join me in the word extinguishing our chalice, which are printed in the chat if you're online and printed up behind me or on your order of service if you're here in person. We extinguish this flame. The warmth of community or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Change of plan. I'd like to do Spirit of Life 123. I want to send you off today with these words from Reverend Leslie Takahashi. All that we have ever loved and all that we have ever been stands with us on the brink of all that we aspire to create. A deeper peace, a larger love, a more embracing hope, a deeper joy in this life we share. Until we meet again, may comfort, peace, and joy be found within and around you.